first.
Seen it? Hello? Hello?
Hey! Hey!
A teenager wakes up in a forest to find someone tugging at his truck doors. A hiker gets stalked by a cougar for 6 straight minutes.
No! Get the f away! Get the f away!
And in Belgium, a woman in white charges out of the woods holding an axe.
What the fuck? What the fuck? What's that?
These aren't horror stories, they actually happened. And the scariest part? None of them were ever fully explained. If you think you're safe in the woods, just wait until you hear what else was caught on film.
You guys see those lights up there? Yo, they're shining a lighter on. They're shining a lighter on, look.
Camping in the forest. In April of 2020, a teenager named Noah set out for a truck camping trip in the thick woods of Sun River, Oregon. He drove deep into the forest, far from the main road, until he found what looked like the perfect spot to spend the night. But that night would be anything but peaceful. Noah was shaken awake by sounds outside his truck. At first it was faint, just the crunch of something moving across the forest floor. Then it grew clearer. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, too heavy to be an animal. From the pattern, Noah realized it was a person. Instinctively, he grabbed his GoPro camera and began recording.
I'm currently sleeping in the back of my truck right now. I don't even know what time it is. And there's someone walking around my truck right now. If you can hear that, it's pretty loud. He's been walking around for like 20 minutes already. I don't really know what to do. I'm a little freaked out right now. And it's like pitch black outside. And like, this doesn't make any sense because I parked somewhere where you couldn't see. No one was on that road. Wait, he's touching my truck. How am I supposed to get him away? He's literally knocking. He's literally knocking on my truck. The canopy, the back door's locked. I've never been scared before ever. I don't think he knows that there's anyone in here. I'm so scared right now. He's literally peeking through the door right now.
What happened next froze him in place. Whoever was out there began knocking on the trunk and tugging at the door handles. Noah sat still, heart pounding, while the figure tried to get inside. Luckily, his doors were locked, leaving him no choice but to wait it out. Minutes dragged by like hours, until finally, the footsteps faded back into the forest. When daylight broke, Noah wasted no time driving back to the safety of the road. But the morning revealed something far worse. His truck was smeared with handprints, across the back window, on the trunk, and all over the door handles. Someone had been circling him, peering inside, trying every way they could to get in.
Handprints there, a lot of scratches, stuff like that. Dragging his finger on my side of my truck. Looks like to be trying to get inside my truck. That's really all I could tell from when he was walking around. More handprints trying to get in my truck. At least the back canopy was locked, but yeah, that was the result.
The most unsettling detail, whoever it was, they had no flashlight, no badge, no reason to be there in the middle of a pitch-black forest. They never spoke a word, never identified themselves, and Noah never discovered who stalked him that night. Some mysteries are terrifying, not because of what we know, but because of what we never find out. The growl in the night. Deep in the backcountry at a remote lake called Lake Cascray, a lone camper prepares for a quiet night under the stars. But when darkness falls, that stillness breaks, and what happens next becomes one of the most chilling nights he has ever experienced. Joseph, the creator of the YouTube channel 50/50 Fishing, known for his calm fishing trips and outdoor adventures, he thought this would be just another night at camp. Instead, it turned into something far more terrifying. Sometime after midnight, Joseph woke to a sound that froze him in place.
I just woke up. I heard something like a weird noise. What the hell is it? There's something out there.
A deep, guttural growl right outside his tent. A bear had wandered into his campsite. The heavy rumble moved in circles around him, breaking the silence of the forest.
First.
Each pass grew louder, closer, and more threatening. Inside the thin shelter of his tent, Joseph could hear every breath, every shift of weight. There was nothing separating him from the predator but a wall of fabric. Heart racing, he reached for his gun. His hands shook as he aimed it toward the sound, his breath shallow, waiting for the canvas to tear open. Seconds felt like hours as the growls pressed in around him. Then, just as suddenly, the noise began to fade. The bear moved on, leaving Joseph alone with the pounding in his chest and the crushing quiet of the woods. When daylight finally broke, he didn't hesitate. He packed up his gear and left the forest behind. An encounter with a cougar. It was just after sunrise on the Slate Canyon Trail, near Provo, Utah, when a jogger named Kyle Burgess noticed movement up ahead. At first, he thought it was a baby bobcat crossing the path. Curious, he lifted his phone to record. But what he had mistaken for a bobcat was actually a cougar cub. And where there is a cub, the mother is never far behind. Moments later, the mother cougar stepped out of the brush, her eyes locked on him.
You! Oh,
What followed was a terrifying standoff. Kyle slowly backed away, keeping his phone trained on the animal while shouting and clapping to appear larger and more threatening. But the cougar didn't back down. Instead, she kept advancing, step by step, following his every move down the narrow trail. At times, she was no more than 15 feet away. Then, with a sudden lunge, she charged to within 6 feet, claws digging into the dirt before halting just short of him. At one point, Kyle briefly turned his head to glance at the path behind him so he wouldn't trip. That single moment of distraction was all the cougar needed to charge, closing the gap to just a few feet.
no! You taste, dude. Trying to attack you, your eyes are looking away from you. Dude!
For 6 long minutes, Kyle was forced into a slow retreat, never breaking eye contact, never running. The standoff finally ended when he hurled a rock toward the cougar, startling her enough to turn and disappear back into the wild. Cougar encounters are among the most dangerous situations a hiker can face. If Kyle had panicked and run, the chase instinct would have taken over, and the outcome could have been far more tragic. Instead, his calm persistence and a well-thrown rock may have saved his life. The night the forest went silent. Turkish YouTuber Ugur Haliloglu is known for his calm, peaceful videos, long shots of misty forests, the sound of crackling fires, and the quiet joy of camping far from the noise of the world. Alongside his wife, Sezen, he has spent more than 10 years exploring the wild, finding comfort beneath the stars and beauty in silence. But this trip would not be like the others. What began as a peaceful escape soon turned into one of the most unsettling nights they had ever experienced. As night settled, the glow of their campfire painted the clearing in warm light. The air carried the scent of grilled vegetables, smoke, and pine. Cougar and Season sat close together, sharing quiet laughter as the forest whispered around them. Everything felt still, peaceful, perfect. But peace has a strange way of breaking.
Koş.
Uğraç kapıyı.
Geç karanlık.
Geç. Duydun değil mi?
Duydumdur.
The fire crackled softly as Cougar worked on setting up a metal frame beside the camper, his hands steady under the glow of the flames. He adjusted the poles one by one, the faint clink of metal echoing into the dark. Season watched quietly, the night air cool and still. Then, without warning, the stillness broke. The forest fell silent, completely silent, and in the next heartbeat, a deep, growling sound ripped through the night. For a second, they just listened. Then both ran for the camper. They slammed the door shut and locked it. Inside, the quiet pressed in hard. They strained to hear any sign of what had passed outside, a voice, footsteps, anything, but nothing moved. No sound returned. The moment of danger vanished as quickly as it came, leaving only a cold, watchful feeling in its place. They tried to reason with themselves. It was just an animal, nothing more. But something about it felt wrong. The growl hadn't faded. It had stopped, as if whatever made it was waiting, watching. They didn't sleep that night. And when morning came, the silence outside felt no safer than the dark. Whatever had been out there never showed itself again. The question stayed with them. Was it simply a wild animal, a person passing through, or something else entirely? Nature has its own sounds, until something human breaks the silence. And for these three explorers in Belgium, that sound came with an axe. The woman in white. In December of 2023, a YouTuber named Siaz and two of his friends traveled to Belgium to explore an abandoned campsite hidden deep in the woods. They thought it would just be another one of their usual adventures, some eerie footage, a few laughs, and then back home. But this time, what they found out there was far from ordinary. As they stepped out of the car, a faint sound cut through the silence, a low, distant howl echoing through the forest.
Echt? Oh, man.
It didn't sound like a normal dog, more like something warning them to turn back. When they reached the entrance of the woods, they found a fallen tree blocking the path. On it, someone had painted a warning, "Private. This is a space of prayer. Please respect the area." Behind the tree was another sign that read, "Beware of watchdog." The warnings were clear, but curiosity got the better of them. Ignoring the signs, the group climbed over the log and stepped into the forest. Soon after, they began hearing odd noises, like an old wooden door slowly creaking open somewhere ahead.
Ja, ik hoor, hoort je het? Die deur, die wint niet. Ik hoor ze... Nee, dat was een beest. Zeker? Ja.
Uneasy, but unwilling to turn back. Instead, they left the main path and walked deeper into the forest. Each step took them farther from safety and closer to something waiting in the dark. They came across another tree wrapped in red and white tape with a sign that said, "No access. Private area. Under camera surveillance." Once again, they ignored the warning. The boys stepped over the barrier and pushed forward into the darkness, unaware of what was waiting for them.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh, dat is toch niet mijn auto of zo, hè? Hier wordt letterlijk iemand gemarteld in dat bos. Dit is heel fucked. Daar is geen licht, kijk. Daar is geen licht. Dit is heel fucked. Dus, wat? Kom gewoon verder. Stel je voor, dat was mijn auto. What the fuck is dit, kerel? Die zit er ook uit. Ja, wat komt daar? Ik zie ze. Zit daar, een lampje. Zo eruit. Ja, die komt naar hier. Die komt naar hier. Kom maar hier. Blijf gewoon hier. Lamp aan of niet? Hallo? 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 What the fuck? What the fuck? Hey!
Then it happened. If you pause the footage for just a moment, you can see a woman in a white robe holding an axe, fast walking straight toward them through the trees. The group broke into a panic. In the confusion, the three friends got separated, running blindly through the pitch-black forest. But the woman wasn't done with them yet. Minutes later, when police arrived at the scene, Siaz suddenly burst out from the woods, shaken, terrified, but alive. Moments after, the woman appeared too, emerging from the dark forest, still clutching the axe. It took 6 officers to calm her down. She was later taken into custody, her behavior described as confused and unstable. For Siaz and his friends, that night became a memory they would never forget. A night when curiosity led them face to face with real danger. They called it a trauma for life. The Eyes in the Forest. And that clip was shared by Cam Prime, a channel built on solitude, nature, and the quiet strength that comes from spending nights far from anything familiar. In this episode, Ren sets out alone once again, this time to a forest in Japan, a place known for strange stories and unsettling folklore. He plans to spend the night inside his car, deep in the woods, miles from civilization. But what begins as a quiet escape soon turns into something very different. A silent forest, a ruined building, and a growing feeling that he is not as alone as he thought. With everything ready for the night, Ren settles in with a warm cup of tea, listening to the gentle stillness of the forest. The air feels calm, peaceful even. He watches the daylight fade, the trees stretching long shadows across the ground as the forest slowly sinks into darkness. When night finally falls, Ren retreats into his car and puts on a movie, The Blair Witch Project. It feels like an odd but fitting choice, a story about people lost in a haunted forest. At first, he laughs at the coincidence, but as the film goes on, that laughter fades. The doors are locked. The forest outside is still, but a quiet unease begins to creep in. Ren adjusts his pillows, dims the lights, and tries to relax. Still, something about the silence feels wrong. It's too deep, too heavy. When the movie ends, he decides to step outside for a quick bathroom break. A simple task, or so he thinks. As Ren walks a few steps into the trees, the forest feels different. The darkness is thicker now. Every sound seems distant, swallowed by the night. Then he sees it, 2 faint lights shining through the trees. At first, he thinks they might be reflections, but they don't move like reflections. They look like eyes, watching, waiting. Ren freezes. His heart races. Then he turns and walks quickly back toward the car, hoping his camera caught whatever he just saw. Back inside, he tries to shake it off. He brushes his teeth, rolls out his sleeping mat, trying to convince himself it was just an animal. But the thought won't go away. Out here, in a place this quiet, every creak feels like a footstep. Every rustle feels like breath against the glass. Still, somehow, the night passes. No knocks, no whispers, only silence. By morning, the forest feels peaceful again. The first light filters through the trees, birds sing, and the air is soft with calm. Ren makes a simple breakfast, a sandwich with leftover cabbage and croquette, and lets himself breathe again. But the memory lingers. Those glowing eyes in the dark, too high to be an animal, too still to be human. Whatever it was, it left without a sound and without an answer. So what do you think Ren saw out there? Just a curious creature, or something else, waiting in the shadows, just beyond the light?